my name is Kiara. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello. Hi, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not new here, wow, thanks for coming. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a slight bit of a get ready with me with products I have not used in a while because I own a lot of makeup, and do I use all of it all the time in a rotating fashion? I'm also going to list every product that I'm going to be using in the description bar below. So the first thing I'm going to start with is this. This is the Becca Skin Love Glow Essence Serum. This is actually pretty similar, I would say, to the Laneige, except the Laneige is better. Point blank period. It just is. How to describe the Laneige one, I can tell makes my skin look amazing and helps my makeup last longer. This serum is 100% not worth the price. This I think is like $40 or so at Ulta. It smells really good. It has a really nice scent to it. It makes me think of like pears and like melon. That's what it smells like. It doesn't smell bad. It feels good on the skin when you put it on, but it's not going to elongate the time of wear for your makeup. It's not really going to do anything except kind of boost hydration in your skin, which will help with a little bit of like more glow. So I've now somehow converted myself into being skin first before eyes. I don't know who I've become. So I don't have any old brow products that I used to use that I no longer use. I just use the same thing every single time. It's just the Nars Brow Defining Cream in the shade Danakil. So I'm back, my brows are done. They look like my normal brows. I do the same brow shape all the time. I will go ahead and also detail, I shaved the tail ends off of my brows because my brows naturally grow out to about here, like tail length. Like I have really long eyebrow tails, so I took them off. I was like, I don't need all this extra. You're giving me extra work. I don't need this. I also feel like longer brows on me just don't flatter my overall face shape very much. So I took off the tail ends of my brows, and I feel like it made everything better. The actual go-to face routine used to be like go-to three different Anastasia stick foundations. I'm debating upon if I'm going to do all three of these, especially for under eye, because I feel like my under eye tends to be a bit more drier, so a little bit too dry to actually use a stick foundation. Now the reason that I actually don't use this stick foundation anymore is I have better this is actually the first foundation I ever had a really good match in, which is why I loved it so much and just would routinely use it. And honestly thought that once I got close to like running out of it, I would repurchase it because it's my perfect match. Why wouldn't I? Oh, for primer, actual primer, because as I stated, the Glow Essence does nothing. I'm going to be taking the NYX Bear With Me Jelly Primer. This is actually a really good primer. I actually really like this. I don't use it all the time. I haven't used it in a while, truthfully. And I think it's just because it's like a potted primer. So I don't use this foundation all the time because it's not bad. It's just a little bit too matte looking for me on my skin. I'm in the shade Cool Golden. This is literally my exact shade. Like, I know it may not look like it, but hold on. You see that? This is Cool Golden. That is literally my skin tone in a tube. This foundation is just a little bit too matte for me personally. The coverage is nice. The finish isn't bad. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It's not cakey on me. I have seen some other people with like dry skin say that stick foundations, like all of them are bad to them and they don't like any stick foundations, which I feel like this one is not a bad one. I just feel like for me, I just prefer my skin to look way more luminous than what the finish of this one can give me. That's purely it. It's not bad. I think it lasts pretty okay on the skin and everything. You could easily blend this out, I think, with a brush as well. A brush might be faster, truly, because it is a stick. And that's the one thing I actually also like about this foundation is it doesn't take that long to blend out. I think it does also help that it is such a good match for me, though. But it doesn't take as long to blend out or anything. It's just more Like, you see the finish it's giving on my skin. The only reason there's any ounce of glow is more likely because of the primer I'm using in, like, my skincare. But, like, it doesn't really give me, like, a glowy finish. And that's the finish I really prefer when it comes to foundations and stuff. Is I really like a super glowy finish. I want to look like maybe I ran a mile, you know? I really want to look like I was outside. I want to look like the sun kissed me and then cried tears of joy because of how beautiful my skin is. I want to look like that. With this foundation, I used to also use these two shades. For under eye, I would use the shade Caramel, which is, I think, 2 shades lighter and it has a more yellow kind of undertone. See, like, this would be a really good under eye highlighting shade. I may mix this with something else. And then for contour, I would use the shade Earth. I'm actually gonna go over this with bronzer, I think, because I don't actually want to fully, like, contour my face. I'm actually going to use this under my eye, but I'm also going to mix it with something else because, again, my under eye, I feel like is, like, how would I say, dry. I'm actually going to take this. This is the Wet n Wild Cushion foundation in the shade Honey Beige. I think this is like the second to darkest shade that they actually have available for this foundation, which is an utter and complete shame because it is clearly too light for me, and we all see what I look like. So yeah, they could go deeper, but I don't think they're going to, especially for the fact that this has been out for a really long time and they haven't really talked about this or anything of even, like, you know, thinking of expanding it or anything. I actually had tried the darkest shade that they have available as well. That one is also too light for me. So that's not an excuse either. Who was that supposed to fit? And the thing is, when it first released, I feel like was when we were straight on the cusp of getting into, like, lighter coverage foundations. So people were really excited to have, like, a drugstore option that was a little bit more lighter coverage and not as intense, which I'll be honest, I was very excited about too, because I have always been someone who's liked lighter coverage. Even when my skin wasn't necessarily the best, I still liked lighter coverage because I felt like it just looks better on the skin rather than, like, a super heavy full beat coverage type of situation. Not that a full beat can't look good if you don't have great skin, just more or less I felt like on me when I would try to do it, I didn't really like how it looked on me because I felt like it just didn't blend out as seamlessly or look as good as I wanted my skin to turn out to look. So I've always liked lighter coverage when it comes to, like, foundations and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to, like, find those sorts of things in my shade, which I don't know why that's a thing. I think ColourPop kind of, like, you know, settled into, like, maybe stepping into the realm of having lighter tone coverage foundations or, like, tinted moisturizers or BB and CC creams that actually go deeper. And yeah, there's a whole argument of, like, oh, it's lighter coverage, you don't need it to be an exact match. And that can be true because it's not as heavily pigmented, but it's also, like, there at least still needs to be a shade kind of close to me, at least, because I have the tinted moisturizer and it's not a ton of coverage. I put it on and I look like Casper. Over the cream contour with a bronzer. Let's see. I'm gonna take this bronzer. This is the Nars. I don't know the full name of this bronzer. I think it's like the sun-kissed bronzer. And this is in the shade falaises. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that they discontinued this bronzer here because I don't think I've even, like, seen it on the website or anything like that. The only thing that I've noticed about this bronzer is it's honestly not a bad one. It's just more or less kind of like it takes a lot of swirling your brush in it to, like, get anything, and when you do, it's, like, really light. Like, really, like, lightly pigmented. It's like, girl, your wrist is putting in some effort, some work to even, like, get remotely anything. But this is actually one of the first bronzers I'd ever purchased ever, because For a really long time when I was like getting into makeup, I felt like bronzers weren't for me or weren't for people about my skin tone. I don't remember who mentioned this, but I think it was Kenya. I was told by Kenya here on YouTube. I think she actually mentioned how she felt like for a really long time, like the market just didn't have bronzers for like people of like a deeper complexion. And I personally feel like bronzers really do change the game. Like not just your face, but just in general, I think they do. Cream highlight, I'm actually going to take one from Becca. This is in the shade Prosecco Pop, the cream highlight. It's a little more on like the goldeny kind of side. It actually looks really pretty. I would say that this one aligns into like more of like a subtle kind of highlight realm. It doesn't look bad, just more or less like it's not gonna be like blinding or in your face, which I actually am kind of okay with that. Like my favorite highlight to actually use is the Nabla Skin Glazing highlighter in the shade Amnesia. That one is so pretty. Oh gosh, Nabla intrigues me because like even like their new Miami Lights collection, I was watching I think it's Grace on Your Dash. She's an Italian beauty YouTuber here, and she was showing the whole collection of like the Miami Lights, and a lot of it looked like it was just like the face stuff, like the bronzers looked like they were way too white, a little ashy. But me and her are of different complexions, so I'm thinking that if I wanted to try out one of the bronzers, which I really do want to, because I know that I like how nice and wonderfully natural and just beautiful on the skin the highlight looks. I can only imagine what a nice luminous satiny kind of finished bronzer from them would look like, and I really want it. So she tried out I think the second to last shade that was available. I personally think they could have went slightly darker with shades, or just had more shades, like maybe one or two more shades, like another one like in the middle and then like a deeper one. I think would have really been beneficial in that sort of range, because it's okay if you don't want to have like 20 shades. I think not having like a ton of shades and a range for things is fine. It's just that if you're going to have a smaller range, your range needs to be able to at least be good for a majority of people using your product. Like if you're only going to have 6 shades of something, they should be 6 shades that can be used by a variety of people. Like I look glowy and like highlighted, but it's not one of those like super like ugh. Always fiery blush here. There's no particular reason why I don't use this one other than the fact that when I see red, I'm like, oh my god, this is intense. And it's not. This is pretty pigmented of a blush. Like you really don't need a whole lot. As you can probably see, I'm doing very like light movements of like putting this blush on. I also have actually recently started when I do my blush of like taking my blush up a little bit, almost as if I'm draping it up to like the side of my face. I just think it kind of helps snatch me a little bit, if that makes sense. I don't know if that helps, but like I don't know, to me it just makes me feel like I look more well-rounded, less Neapolitan ice cream flavor, you know? I also like taking my blush right on the middle bridge of my nose, because if you also just noticed me like putting on my highlight, I actually don't put highlight on the whole bridge of my nose. I only put it here and on the tip. So the middle part of my nose has no highlight, but that gives the illusion that my whole nose is highlighted, which helps to bring more attention to the middle part of my nose rather than, I don't know. In my head it just makes sense, but it just looks better to me that way. I don't like the whole trying to highlight down the middle because I can't draw a straight line at all to save my entire life. I also like applying blush just a little bit on the chin as well, kind of along the same sort of space where I would have bronzed or contoured, just to kind of bring it all together. I have a few different, like, I actually have quite a few eyeshadow palettes here. There's quite a few different ones that I would say I haven't like used like the actual palette like by itself in a while, because normally how I do my makeup is I do my makeup with like 5 or 6 different palettes at once. I will literally dip in for one shade and another shade and another shade, and I'll have like 6 different palettes open at one time, and that's perfectly normal to me. But I'm trying to think if there's a palette I have not actually like touched and used anything out of. A Bad Habit Athena palette, which, how old is this? I have not realized how old this palette actually is, but it's basically like a dupe to the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. I don't use this one mostly because it's majority shimmers, and I feel like every time I've used it, I get the exact same look every single time because there's only very few mattes in here. Let's do something with this one though. I'm gonna take the shade Clever, which is like a dark reddish brown, and I'm going to pop that in the outer corner along with the inner corner and kind of take that into the normal fold that I would have on my eye here. Heroic, which is like this terracotta brown shade, and I'm just gonna go right above that along those edges and kind of blend that out here. So fully blend the whole thing out. I'm gonna then take the shade Valcor, which is like a super light peachy shade, which is normally a shade I would not use, but this is just to kind of just transition and bring everything a little bit more so together. Doesn't really need to do a huge amount for me here, just a blend. Shade Divine, which is more like a penny coppery type of shade. These are also very like wet feeling, like they feel very dimethicone, just very like they have a lot of slip to them. They apply best with a finger. Oh gosh, I don't hate this palette, but it's just kind of like I just never really reach for it. And I remember when like Shop Hush was like a big thing where they would like send anybody and everybody some like PR of like all these like dupe palettes. Oh my god, do y'all remember that? I also don't remember the one girl who used to make like anti-consumerist like content and say like how hauls and like PR, and she like condemned Hush, and then she got like PR from Hush. And then out of nowhere was singing a whole new tune. I don't know what happened to that girl. I hope she's okay. But I remember people attacking her like continuously. And I remember Shop Hush being like everywhere, like they're like sponsoring everybody's video, sending everybody some stuff. And I liked it. I actually liked the app, and I remember being on like the beta version of like the community app that they were trying to launch as well for Shop Hush. And it was like a small community of like other fellow like makeup lovers and stuff like that, so it was really fun. I just stopped posting on it after a while because like I don't know, it just felt like people were like only on there to try to grow a form of a following so they could then tell that following to go follow them on Instagram. Like it didn't feel like people that were genuinely there like trying to like make friendships or like talk about makeup or share like tips or anything like that. It just genuinely felt like people that just trying to climb the ladder, which is not a bad thing. If that's your thing, whatever. But I just kind of also feel like it's a little disingenuous to act like you care for something else if you don't. Anyway, but Shop Hush was a thing, and that's for this palette. And I had the Prism dupe palette as well too for a while, but I decluttered that one. I think I decluttered that one before, like right before I moved. I did not hate that palette either. That's the thing is about these is like I'm very indifferent about like dupe palettes or like dupes of things. I don't really care too hard, but I also think that my opinion would slightly be different if I were like a full artist or something, but I'm not, so I don't really have super strong feelings when it comes to it. So in that case, I don't know, I'm very indifferent about them, but I also feel like the results, like the dupes that are created, are like never actually amazing. I'm now going to line my lash line very simply and just super tiny with the NYX. Oh, I use this all the time. I'm not using another liner, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have like a ton of like liners, so we're just gonna take my norm. The actual dupe palettes that are created are like never like mind-blowingly amazing enough for me to be like, I don't know, like they're not great, they're not bad, they're just and when something's it's supposed to be duping something else, it almost makes you want to just go buy the real thing because it's like, this is not as good as I was expecting it to be. I feel lied to. Anyway, I'm gonna go do the other eye and some lashes, and I will be right back to finish off the look. So eyes are pretty much done. This eye look is giving me Zuko from Avatar vibes. If this doesn't scream the color scheme of every outfit that he had on throughout every episode, I don't know what would. I haven't seen people do looks of Avatar. Oh, I guess that is something I should also talk about. Like, aside from like me just blah 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 about makeup or whatever. I recently finished, me and my boyfriend, we finished the Avatar Last Airbender. I had never actually seen the show in its entirety until recently when I finished and watched it. I 100% was missing out. And the reason I never watched it, because when it first came out, I remember it coming out, but I never actually like watched the full show. And honestly, I don't think I was emotionally strong enough as a child to have like withstood this show. Because there was so many, like there was episodes where I wanted to like literally cry. Like me and my boyfriend were like video chatting. Like I'd have him on like a video call and I'm like on my computer watching and he's on his computer watching, because Netflix party, you know, social distance. So we were like social distancing, watching this show together, and like I'd be over here like, oh my god, Papa, Momo, he gotta get his friend back, and he'd be like, you know, sniffling too and stuff. So we would be like super like emotionally like worried and invested in these characters. I love it. Zuko is my favorite character from the entire show. I just feel like he has like the best like redemption arc, I think. Does anybody else feel for Azula though? I feel for her, truly. Anyway, so thinking about a lipstick, since this is more like a dark brown, like reddish coppery kind of toned look, I want to go like dark red, but like dark orangey red. So I'm gonna try to do, I could do an ombre lip, but I'm not good at those. I'm not. This is the Morphe liquid lipstick in the shade Nibble. This is like one of the only shades I think in their line that I can actually like kind of get away with wearing. I also normally don't like to wear lipsticks where I have to wear a lip liner with it. For a really long time though, I didn't actually like wearing lip liner period, and I would just wear my lipstick without a lip liner, which I was on something because it looks so much better. And I think I get a more precise application of lipstick when I line my lips. So I don't know who I thought I was out here not lining my lips for like majority of the time I've been wearing makeup. Like, girl, line your lips. Even for lipsticks where you don't necessarily need to, like the color's dark enough or pigmented enough where I can get away without needing one, it looks better. I also think you should not spend a ton of money on like lip liners either, especially if you're like me and you use one every day for literally every lipstick shade. If you like have a ton of colors and stuff like that too, you do not need to spend a lot of money on a lip liner. Some brands really be wildin' because it's almost like mascara. Like, that's a product that you're gonna either go through so fast or like exchange it out so quickly. Why would you pay like $20-something for this? I apologize if you hear snoring sounds. Shia is asleep. Girl, she is knocked out next to me. She's on the bed fully snoring. Do your cats snore? If you have cats, tell me, do your cats snore? Both of mine snore, like of varying intensities. Shia snores really intense. Luna snores when she's like sleeping real good, but it's usually pretty quiet. Like the shade, I also like the formula of the Morphe liquid lipsticks, but well, this might be slightly too red. Oops. So this is like almost the finished look. I'm gonna go put on a wig and actually put on the outfit I'm gonna wear today, and you'll see the whole thing come together. I'm gonna be a new person. One moment. This is the finished look for this get ready with me of things I have not used in a while. But yeah, so overall I would say that like my makeup looks fine. Ooh, I should do a finishing spray. Let me do a finishing spray. Which one have I not used in a minute? Actually, I have not used this one, but I actually quite like this one. I like this one a lot. I do think it kind of helps your makeup stay. This is the Laura Geller's Spackle Mist. I feel like this helps a lot, like with the longevity of your makeup, especially if you're doing like a super like glowy look.
Oh my god.
Is it a mist? Yo, why? So this is the finished look to this Get Ready With Me. I hope you had a fun time. I had a good time making it. In some of these, I honestly had forgotten like what they looked like on me because I haven't worn them in a while. I forgot Nibble looks like this on me when it dries down. I was over here like, ooh, that looked way too red. That actually like kind of dried down to fit really well with this eye look, I think. So I actually really like this. I will probably reach with Nibble a little bit more, at least for that. This highlight also looks really pretty as well. I think on camera it's looking way more blinding than it actually is in person, but this looks like a very natural, like, I woke up, I just look good kind of glow in person. The contour, you can tell like it's not like I feel like I had a lot of trouble blending it out today. I don't know, it doesn't look bad. My foundation looks good. I do find that this stick foundation is one that gets in my laugh lines a lot, and I have laugh lines because I like to laugh. I like to have a good time. I don't know about y'all, but I like to have a good time. So foundations usually tend to settle there on me, which is one thing where when it comes to like foundations, I try to find ones to be long wearing and stuff. So because that one's already starting to settle in my laugh lines, it's probably gonna break up, but it's whatever because I'm just going to Target. Again, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to see more content from me. On this channel, I mostly post like fashion and beauty content here, and if you want to see more of that kind of content, go follow me over on my Instagram. My handle is at ugh.kerria. And all of my other socials will also be linked down below as well in the description bar. I hope you had a good time. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope to talk to you somewhere on the internet soon. And in the meantime, take care. I look like an e-girl. I feel like this was e-girl transformation 101. Like, I am patient zero of the e-girls. Who is she? Actually, you know what? I look good. I look good.